Let's go ahead and do two things. Number one, I want to always honor those folks who support the work. There was a gentleman who had sent in a question on my last live stream, and it had actually went to the spam box, which is rare. But I do have his question, and so I want to read it out. And Jacob's in business as well, so perhaps you can give your perspective, and then we'll go ahead and get into the main discussion.
Okay.
Charlie writes, "Hi, Marquett. I've been watching you since you bodied that demon Adam on the Whatever podcast. Thank you for the lessons, experiences, and resources you have shared with this community. In my journey to self-improvement, your videos have been a great source of knowledge to stimulate the mind and laughter to heal the soul. There are times I wish I found your channel sooner, but that type of thinking is of no help. As of now, my main goal is to pay off my credit cards with an S, and purchase my first house." There's actually more here, but just the first piece. You have any thoughts on the credit card piece?
I mean, paying off your credit cards when you're in business, I mean, we call that good debt. So we like to have our credit cards and just make payments on it, paying them all off. I mean, we all know that when you have a business, it's good debt if you have cards.
So are you saying if you have credit cards in the name of your business or in your personal name?
Mostly your
Or
business. I mean, it depends on
personal.
how deep you are in your business. I mean, work if you're a corporation and you have a bunch of credit cards. I mean, you don't want to pay them off. It actually makes your credit score go lower. So it's good to
Okay,
have.
so and I want to clarify for everyone watching. So there's your business has an EIN, you as an individual have a social security number.
Yeah.
And if your business is developed and has significant revenue, you might have the privilege of getting business credit.
Yes.
Conversely, some of you might even take out a loan or credit in the name of your business, but you have to personally guarantee it, which means that you, as an individual human being with a social security number, are guaranteeing that that debt gets paid off, which means that you're liable, and that is not ideal. I always promote don't use credit cards at all, ever, for any reason. Full stop.
Okay.
Don't use credit cards at all, ever, for any reason. Full stop. Now, one thing I will say is, biblically, would you agree that biblically, um, credit, which is based on interest, is usury?
I mean, I don't really have like a biblical stance on something like that. I always look at. When it comes down to it, yeah, you always say pay your debts in full and all that, but I understand. But in business, everything is done differently. So I mean, when you have credit cards, it's like you're not paying off your debt. You still owe them, but you can owe them as you go. So I always me when it comes to business, having credit cards has been great. I've been able to do way more things, build my business bigger and faster, and we call that good debt. So, I mean,
Did
I
you
have a
use
lot of
credit cards at the start of your business to start it, or did you use credit cards after your business started producing profits?
no, I had bad credit before I started my business because
As an individual, you're saying?
yeah, as an individual. So I built my credit up when I started my business, and I've been building it up ever since.
Got you. Okay. And I'm assuming you had bad credit because of credit cards or what?
Yeah, I just was young and I wasn't paying things off. I've had my business for about a decade now, so I was just a lot younger, making dumber decisions, just not really caring. But I mean, now as a business owner and with employees, I have other people's lives in my hand, so I
Yes, you
have to
do.
make smart decisions. I can't just make dumb decisions and you know party with that money like I used to do back in the day.
Fair enough. And I do want to let everyone know that I don't speak as a religious person, as a Christian, as a Muslim, as a Jew. We will do some referencing of biblical text, just because that was the basis for which we're having this conversation. I do want to note for all of the believers, be you Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, you pretty much have the same line on interest. And it's simply summarized right here, according to Leviticus 25:37, quote, "You shall not lend your money at interest," which is to say, if you give it out, don't charge interest. Exodus 22:25 stipulates, quote, "If you lend money to another of my people with you who is poor, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not exact interest from him," which is to suggest that interest is a fairly predatory, cruel thing, generally speaking. Now, I'm not saying this as a business person. I'm saying this as, like, if you're one of the persons who follow the word, whether your word is the word of the Christian God, the Muslim God, or the Jewish God, which are all of the Abrahamic faiths, then you should not use interest. It is a wicked thing. Now, if you're a business person and you can be on the money lender side, absolutely, it sounds like a good idea. But anyways, I just want to throw that out there for all of you all who believe yourselves to be believers, because a lot of things, especially on the Christian side, seem to be forgotten. In fact, just this morning, there's a Christian that seems like he was trying to cheat me out of an extra $30,000. Amazing. But this is the world that we are in. Anyways, I'm going to continue on. So the gentleman states that he had multiple credit cards. I say no one should have any. And we see that he suffered for that. He suffered. That is why I give you this advice. He says he wants to purchase his first home, which is a beautiful thing. Highly recommend that if it makes sense for your trajectory. He writes, I'm embarrassed to say that I have 10,000 in credit card debt due to dumb spending. Anything on a credit card is dumb spending. I don't care what you paid for. And you know, the good news is that $10,000 is not that much. Would you agree, especially you being a business owner now, $10,000 is really chump change,
Mm,
right?
yeah, no, I have to just to survive in business, I have to make 25,000 a week or I go under. So, yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
he said to survive, I
to
must make
survive.
25,000 a week. Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the good news, is that 25,000 is not going to mean much to you, unless you're suffering on the wrong side of compound interest. He writes, also, I'm paying off my car. I have 8,000 left till it's fully paid off. I was thinking of stopping my credit card payments and use that money toward paying off my car. What are your thoughts about this idea? Thank you for your time. Peace to the saints. Now, that is the part that I think is most interesting. And I'm really happy that he asked me that, because it seems as though he was really about to make a decision that would cause him to suffer. What do you think? He's saying he's going to stop the credit card payments and focus on paying off the car.
So he's just not gonna pay the credit cards anymore, he's gonna mess his credit up?
That's what it sounded like based on how it was written.
No, that's really bad. Your credit in the United States is the most important thing. You can, I mean, you can. Really, if you think about it, it's better to have better credit than 100 grand because you can always go and get 100 grand. So I mean, credit is everything out here. So I don't think that's a smart move at all.
I agree with your conclusion, which is it's not a smart move. I don't agree with the underlying logic, which is why it's good to have two perspectives on here.
Yeah.
Would I rather have credit, or would I rather have 100,000 cash? Well, I'd rather have the cash. Number one, you mentioned in the United States is very important. That's actually quite true. Around the world, there's a lot of things you can do with cash that would be far more advantageous. And in most countries, you can't get credit. Like if you're a foreigner in another country, which, like for example, as we speak, you can see that the sun is out. I'm assuming the sun is not out where you are in the United States, right?
Yeah. No, it's out right now still.
Oh
Yeah.
wow,
It's,
what
it,
time?
it
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
go
because
out. To,
you're
it
in
doesn't.
you're in PST,
Yeah. It
so it's
doesn't come
16
down
p.m.
to like around 7 now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I forget you're not on East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like for example, in this country that I'm in right now, if I had no cash and I just had credit, even if I had excellent credit in the United States, I couldn't do anything. But with $100,000, I could buy a proper apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, brand new build in a nice part of town. Furthermore, with cash, you can also work out deals. You can negotiate things. You can get seller financing. You can do so many things with cash if you're a clever business person. With credit, you're fairly crippled. But the most important thing is if you have credit without cash, then it really isn't going to help you anyways, because you're going to get into a debt trap because you won't be able to pay.
Yeah. My
So,
stance. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, you
no,
were gonna.
please go ahead.
Well, my stance was if you're a business owner, really. So as a business owner, credit is better than the cash because I can do so much more. I can get so much more money in from SBAs, from grants, from all these different things I can go after. With bad
Grants are
credit,
not credit though.
no, it's not. But there's certain grants you can get into though. I have a grant lady that I'm using previously right now, and there's specific things. They're not necessarily considered grants still, but like just certain things you can do when you have. It's a little behind the scenes type stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure you probably
And,
know
and
what
one
this is.
thing I
Right?
will say, and I think this is a great conversation because we represent two radically different perspectives that
Mhm.
could both work. They
Yes,
could both work.
it
So
can,
I don't want to pretend as though what you're saying cannot work,
and it
but I
does
tell
work.
you this.
On your
uh,
side, too. I'm saying your side. I agree with everything you're saying too, though, because your side does work. People from China that come here all the time too, they use
right.
cash for everything. So both
Absolutely.
sides, it's just different. How people just do different things.
And I'm designing around the likelihood that you're going to make a mistake at some point. And if you're over leveraged, whether you're in real estate or whatever heavy industry might require a lot of capital and you're over leveraged. Maybe there's a bubble, maybe it's a macroeconomic cycle, and you're over leveraged, and then things go wrong and you don't have cash reserves, but you have a lot of credit, a lot of outstanding debt, you will suffer greatly. So, for example, if you and I did exactly what we're describing, I financed my business using cash, grants, negotiation, seller financing, investments. And then you, on the other hand, say finance yours using maybe some of the things I mentioned, but primarily on credit. And then there's an economic downturn or there's a bubble busting in our industry. I'll still be good to go and I would still be considered well off. You would then probably go into bankruptcy and debt and you would suffer greatly.
Very correct. So everybody around me right now has shut down. All the guys that have been in business 30, 40 years are shutting down. The reason why is they have a massive debt. So you're completely right, and that happens all the time, and it's happening now. So
Mm,
the reason why, so it actually helped me that I'm smaller than they are, because
mm,
now that's the only reason I survived. I didn't put money all over the place like they did, and now they had so much money out that when they're not the same work not's coming in, they shut down. So you're completely right, and that's happening now.
that's a great perspective, and that's one of the things I really appreciate about people who are actually doing business, people who have actual experience. And I appreciate you coming onto the scene. And mind you, everyone, I'm literally just getting to know Jacob right now as we speak. We haven't had any previous conversation whatsoever. Um, but a lot of YouTube guys, they come on and they really don't have a past before YouTube. There's nothing really to hold on to, and so the advice and perspective that they can give is very limited. And so I appreciate you being able to share that that insight. So,
Yeah,
anyways, my perspective on his piece about stopping the credit card payment and paying the car off, I think that is a very bad idea. And I agree with Jacob in that it'll hurt your credit. That's number one. And credit is not everything, but it is important. And the less cash liquid you are, you definitely want to maintain the quality of your credit. And over time, credit is going to get you lower payments on whatever you do, whether it's a car loan, God forbid, a personal loan, or a mortgage. But the last part is this: when you're deciding which thing to pay off, if for some strange reason you can't pay a minimum payment on both of them, and you have limited income that's not growing for some reason, you want to ask yourself which one has A, the highest interest rate, and then B, the worst penalties, and C is least likely to negotiate with me. Whoever is the most predatory and is generally the credit card, you're going to want to pay that off. Why are credit cards going to usually have a higher interest rate for you, be more predatory, and be less likely to give you flexibility? Well, there's no underlying asset. So they need you to pay them their money, because with the car, there's an underlying asset, the vehicle, the automobile. So if you stop paying, they can come take the car from you. You stop paying on the credit card, they can't take anything. So they're at a total loss. They got to write it off. So in as much as that's the case, the credit card is really going to tax you. So I'd highly recommend that you pay at least a minimum on the credit card and then pay your car payment. And don't forget that you can actually refinance cars as well, right? You can get a different loan on the car. You can pull in family members, parents as necessary. You can renegotiate to get the payment lowered or get the term extended. So if you have a 5-year car loan, you can extend it to 6 years, 7 years, reduce the monthly payment. Any other thoughts on that one before we carry on?
no, I completely agree with you on that.
Fantastic. And
Yeah.
Charlie, we appreciate you supporting the work. Anyone who has questions, comments, you can send it below. May I acknowledge Joseph? He writes tuition for the upcoming live. Yes, indeed. This shall be a good one. I'm excited to get into it. Shout out to Endless Apex. Comes in via PayPal. He writes, let's work. And shout out to Joseph as well. Okay, I just said that twice. That's okay. Nothing wrong with being extra thankful. Here we go. So let's first take a look at, let's see what we got here. Let's take a look at um, your YouTube channel. And I'm just going to go ahead and read through so folks can see what you're about, what kind of information you have. And so here's his YouTube channel. And am I pronouncing this correctly? Howls Over Baz?
Yeah, how's over Baz?
Howls Over Baz. Got it.
Yeah.
Howls Over Baz. That's the YouTube channel. Here it is right here. I'm just going to go ahead and do a little read through. Unleash your inner leader. I really like that. We talk a lot about leadership here with the Howls Over Baz podcast. Join the dynamic hosts, Jacob, Ronnie, Rico, Eddie, as they dive deep into the realms of personal growth, self improvement, big on that, leadership development. Okay. Every podcast is a powerful mix of practical tips. That's very good. Inspiring stories. We all love stories. thought provoking insights designed to help you break free from the pack and embrace the spirit of a true howler. What's this concept about howling that you have?
So wolves over sheep, how wolves howl, sheep bass. So basically, leaders over followers, wolves over sheep. Because the
Okay.
sheep, just follow the crowd. That's where kind of we came up with that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, and by the way, this might sound like an advertisement. I've never met this man. He's not paying me anything. He
Yeah.
just my video editor saw him react to a clip and brought him on. And I just want to honor him by letting you all know what he does.
Appreciate that.
Yes. Absolutely. And let me just finish up with this real quick. Okay. It's time to shed the sheep mentality and take control of your life, whether you're striving for success in your career, fitness, relationships, or overall sense of purpose and fulfillment. House over Bass provides you with the tools needed to reach your full potential. Okay. Very good. Then you have all your links here. Fantastic. This is what his channel looks like. That's some cool coloration. It's a little bit rainbow like, though, my boy. A little bit rainbow
Yeah,
like.
I've heard that before. Don't
Y'all tasting the
we don't
rainbow
even
over
go
there?
that side. We don't go that
Oh,
side, man. So don't worry about that. Hey,
all
it's
right.
like
Fair
I
enough.
look at it as like a surfing type of colors. You know what I'm saying? Like I surf, so
Yeah.
that's kind of how I look at that.
No, it's actually a beautiful logo, and I think it's a pity that the LGBTQ has basically monopolized a natural symbol while doing unnatural things. So
Exactly.
yeah, it is indeed a beautiful symbol.